Triotonic.
Thank you guys for coming back. This is the Triotonic Podcast. You literally can't be anywhere in the world right now, but you are still here with us. So, we have a lot to cover. We've been off the air for a really long time, for like over a month. We have our guest, Giancarlo, coming on to share this new venture with us. And, of course, my handy-dandy co-host, Air Pound. Yeah, the elbow.
Airbud. Oh, elbow. Yeah. Social distancing.
Yeah. So
very nice.
We're here and we're trying something new. We didn't ever really want to do a remote podcast like this, but with the current circumstances of social distancing and everything, this is we're kind of like forced into this
max social distancing.
Yeah, this is like really long distancing,
Yeah. Especially in Jersey.
Yeah, so Giancarlo, where are you at currently?
I'm in Montclair at my apartment. So
okay.
Yeah. I'm here in the Claire. Been here for 6 years, and now I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, you're hunkered down.
Yeah.
So we're all in Jersey. So
Yeah, I'm in Hudson County. The usual spot where we record the pod is in Bergen County. So we got a tri-county thing going on.
I'm in Tedesco area.
James Tedesco, shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
I heard Bergen County is kind of getting hit pretty hard right now, right?
Yeah. That's what I've heard. That there's a lot of people here. It's because it's really Teaneck, and Teaneck was like I guess they were upwards of 70 people there that were infected the last time I checked, and of course with COVID-19, everybody knows what's going on right now, so we don't really have to explain it into detail. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys was like, how long ago did it really hit you that this was going to be this serious?
Giancarlo, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, all right. So I started hearing about it, I guess, sometime around the New Year. All right, so I'm dating this because I hadn't trained jiu-jitsu since like late December. I remembered because the holidays had come and stuff like that, and I was excited in the new year to like start training again and stuff. And then New Year's comes, my birthday came around February like 12th, and I was like, all right, it's gonna be like this is gonna be my time to really like get back into like getting healthy again and doing the whole new me thing. And that was when I started hearing like little rumors about like stuff. I think maybe like a month or so ago.
You started hearing about the COVID guard?
Yeah, so I just started hearing about like, stuff like that. It kind of like deterred me from like going back to the gym and stuff like that. And just like, just like doing little things just because I'm a crazy germaphobe. And I was like, I'm probably just being ridiculous. I was literally, before it started getting really serious here, I was literally about to just be like, slap yourself in the face, stop being a moron, and, just get back in shape,
Yeah.
Like stop holding yourself back, stop giving yourself excuses. And then literally like the next day, everybody was like, yo, they're about to lock everybody down. It's actually really serious. Like they started having those press conferences and stuff. So, like we've been hearing about it for a while now, if you think about it. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Going on overseas for, a bit, and it's getting worse and worse. And it's weird for us because we're so used to a certain way of life. And we've had things so good for so long that it's like really culture shock, and it's definitely going to be a learning experience for us, I guess. But I mean, I'll let you go because I don't want to,
Yeah, you could go.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of what you were saying, I think usually like with a lot of like the H1N1 and all that stuff, like, yeah, we've heard about some cases in the United States, but prior to this, we were really like sheltered from the fallout of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's really affected our lives greatly.
Yeah, I mean, we lived through like swine flu and bird flu and all this other stuff that I think initially we were like, it's gonna be fine. Like I've heard this story before. It was almost like one of those, like that was kind of my stance on it. I was like, man, come on. it's just the government making up stuff to get us scared again in the news, so we can like stock up on supplies. The conspiracy theorists in us, because I mean, if you think about it, every year there's some new thing, right? Like there's always
absolutely. There's always an alert or something.
Yeah, for like people to like be super scared of because like the news needs ratings or whatever. So that was how I think most of us were looking at it. You know, most of us, at least in our age group, that have like been through the ringer with this kind of stuff before, we were probably like, screw it, you know. But this is the realest thing I think I've ever seen since, like, I mean, I heard somebody say it the other day that they were like, this reminds me of like 9/11, and I thought it was a little extreme to say that at the time, but now I'm like, this is pretty significant. Like, this is going to be a significant period.
This is going to be in the history books.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I couldn't see why not. Somebody had a pretty good joke the other day where they were like, we have to promise to tell our kids that we survived through the zombie apocalypse of 2020.
It's pretty crazy because I forgot where I heard this the other day, but it's like the biggest yet smallest thing. Like, it's like, you know, it's affecting so many people, yet it's like so minuscule. Like, you could touch a doorknob and you can get it. Like, you don't know where it is, you know?
Yeah.
It's
the thing that I was thinking about today is like, all right, like the mortality rate isn't very high. Obviously, the people that have to be worried most, not saying that it's like an old person's or a young person's thing, but the people who have to be worried most are the older people. But even if, like, say we didn't take these precautions and we just had like a mass amount of people sick, calling out of work, but not dying, that would, you know, take our economy and put it at a complete standstill, even worse than it is right now. I mean, I think these precautions are kind of necessary. And you know, I was thinking the same thing as Giancarlo. Like, this is just another you know, media thing to get us scared. You know, this, that, and the other thing. But then on Friday and Saturday, last Friday and Saturday, when I saw all the TNET cases start popping up and hearing about TNET closing down, I was like, oh shit, this is getting serious. And first thing I went into work on Monday morning, they're like, all right, as soon as the supervisor gets here, we're going in for an emergency meeting in the conference room. We went in there and like, you know, everyone's working from home. You could bounce after this meeting.
Wow. Yeah. The workforce is crazy because a lot of people are home from work. Some were just like cut off right away, and they were just like, you're going home. You're not getting paid.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of people are laid off.
I say like 30%. And then the worst thing is people that are claiming unemployment, when they go to claim it, they don't realize that the employer actually didn't lay them off because that would be kind of unlawful. What they did was they labeled them as 0-hour employees. So now they can't even claim benefits or, you know, like unemployment, things like that.
Some people did get laid off. They did the right thing and
well, yeah,
you know,
some companies, but some other companies didn't in fear of that they could get sued, you know, because, you know, that's kind of, you know, it's uncharted territory. So everyone's trying to make a move. Everyone's trying to cover their ass, you know.
Yeah. Now,
nobody knows what to do. Oh, go on.
Yeah. Have you guys read into the details about how they're going to distribute this quote unquote like stimulus payment that's supposed to be coming within the next couple months?
No.
I'm not on board with that at all. But do you have some information ready?
So as of right now, it's tentatively scheduled for April 6th and May 18th. It's going to be like 2 rounds of payment. Every American, based on income, is going to get a payout of $1,000 to $1,200. What's crazy is like once you get to $75,000 annually as your wage, they deduct $5 for like every $1,000 above that. So people over that. Go ahead.
So all right, I have a lot of problems with a lot of things that they're doing as solutions right now, like federally and locally, just in New Jersey, right? But so federally with something like that, you're talking about based on someone's income. How is that helping people that don't make most of their income on the books, like waiters, bartenders, right? People like that. Then someone like myself, where, you know, I don't just like make music for a living or something like that. Like I'm an independent contractor, you know, or like Jose, like I don't know how much of the stuff that you have on the books for like your business and stuff like that for guys that are, you know, freelancers and stuff like that, like us that make our money.
1099.
We're 1099 guys, and then we claim our, you know, our income at the end of the year for stuff like that. Like what's our situation? Why is it so blank You know, well, why isn't there more details to put us at ease right now? I don't know how any of that kind of works.
You guys filed in 2018, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all going to be based on that. I don't think there's like any type of differential between how you made the income. It's just those kinds of gaps. The thing that I thought was kind of fucked up is by basing it on your 2018 tax return, as you were saying, there's going to be a lot of people.
Is it 2018 or
2018? They said 2018.
All right.
That would be because some people didn't get to do their 19. You're saying?
Yeah, the 2019s are getting filed right now.
Gotcha.
So what I was saying is like these people who are undocumented, these people who work off the books, waiters, and these people who make most of their income cash, like they're gonna be fucked.
Yeah.
And the other fucking catch to it is like these people who also fall below a certain income because they have less tax liability, they're also gonna get less money. So basically, if you're too broke or too rich, you're really not gonna get anything. And if you're like an undocumented worker and didn't file a tax return, you're pretty much screwed.
It's fucking trash. The other thing that I was sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
Something that bothered me about Phil Murphy today, coming out and saying that they were gonna suspend evictions for 60 days, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a renter, right? I've been up to date with my rent for 60 days, but if all of my clients stop picking up the phone tomorrow and I have no income moving forward, and say I can't pay my rent this month or next month, right? So I'm covered for 60 days. I wasn't pending eviction during that period, right? It helps people that weren't paying their rent before this whole pandemic, but for people that are affected right now, who's that helping? Because you can't even start making a move to evict somebody for 90 days. So if you're going to suspend eviction for 60 days, you're going to have all these people that are in serious debt and facing eviction in 90 days. It doesn't make any sense. Like that's too short term. It doesn't solve anything. It's.
I mean, I think what they're doing is they're looking at it like
that's going to be over in 2 months.
Well, they don't know. That's the thing. Like I think that it's something they'll have to address in 2 months.
It's funny how the disparities between like. Oh yeah, we're assuming things are just going to be okay in 2 months, but also we have all these reports saying that it's going to be like a year and a half until we have a vaccine. It's going to be 180 something days until the virus is on that curve that they keep talking about and all this other stuff. They're talking about like a year and a half on one hand, but the federal government is handing down this whole like, oh, it's going to be we're doing great things. We're about 2-3 weeks away. Just stay inside. Don't mind that we're sending the military in. It doesn't mean anything. We just don't want anything to get out of control. They're there to help you. We've got great testing. Like it's silly shit where it's like also they're screaming on television about how we're a year away from anything changing. So it's like
you guys see the Surgeon General? He took a picture and posted it on Twitter today. He was like holding a sign and like smiling, and it says like, if we do our best, it'll only take 15 days to flatten the curve. And everybody's like retweeting it and reposting it like fucking happy as shit. But I mean, I think that's kind of, giving people false hope.
I think a lot of false hope. We're going, yeah, Jose.
Yeah, the worst thing I think would be if this carries into the summer. I think people with the heat, it'll just really get really out of control, like people waiting online outside of supermarkets and shit. The thing that we want to avoid is like people start going like house to house and shit. That's why they're getting the military ready. I think a lot of people are getting scared. They're talking about martial law. But what I think they're getting like really prepared for is like civil unrest,
looters and shit.
And to keep us safe, call me, I have a tinfoil hat just like some of the best of them, but when you see those tanks and videos of all these things rolling through that people are circulating, I really think that it's uncharted territories. They don't know what's going to happen.
I don't think
they gotta be.
I don't think there's like some crazy conspiracy going on or anything like that. I really think we all just got caught off guard, especially the federal government, because they're such fucking clowns to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
They're so not on top of shit that it's like.
Yeah, it's tough though when you see like the videos of the tanks, and then you see the videos of like the dead bodies in Italy and things. It's, you know, your mind goes to a dark place real quick. You know, it's like it's, you know, it's rest in peace, right? Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But shout out. I don't know his
Pool?
actual name, but yeah, the drowning pool guy.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's scary too, because it's like I watched a thing today where this doctor was breaking it down. You know, she was like, "There's 300-something million people in America, right? We expect 45% of us to realistically get affected by it."
Affected or infected?
Infected in some way. They expect 45% of us, right? And that's like being generous. It could be more than half of us that end up with it, right? And they're like, if 20% of those, I don't know, I'm not giving exact numbers right now, but I think she said something around like, if 20% of those people need to be hospitalized, I'll find the clip and I'll send you guys the link, and then maybe you could post it up or something.
You'll post it in the description or something like that.
Yeah. But it was really informative. It was, you know, so she was like, if 20% of those people need to be hospitalized, and then I think like, let's say 10%, I don't know, again, I'm just throwing numbers out there, need ventilators, then that leaves like this crazy number of like hundreds of thousands of people that need to be on ventilators, right? And then we only have like 23,000 ventilators in the, you know, country or something. It was like some like crazy drastic number like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's the fear. It's not about, it's not so much about old people. There's plenty of young people that have asthma, you know, or pre-existing health conditions or any of that stuff. And that's our friends and family, you know. I grew up with asthma my whole life. I've been worried, you know. I'm like, I mean, I don't really have it now. Like sometimes seasonally, I need to like take a puff of an inhaler or something like that if I'm having allergies. But
yeah,
you know, I mean, somebody that was 40 years old just died the other day. You know, I think today, like a famous DJ died or something like that. Like from the coronavirus in the United States. So it's like, you know, it's pretty fucking serious. You know. People aren't thinking about too. Something I'm reading a lot about is, you know, like these other countries don't battle things like obesity like we do, and they don't have heavy smokers like we do, stuff like that. You know, like smokers are seriously at risk. People that are like seriously overweight are really at risk, and we're all fucking overweight here. You know, like
absolutely.
I don't know that many people that aren't. You know, even the people that are in shape, like if you're just some big jacked fucking Jersey juice head, you're technically morbidly obese, you know, like, or not morbidly obese, but you're technically obese. So it's like, you know, these are people that are at risk, like people that are overweight and like people that have asthma, and like that's very fucking common. That's not, you have to be 80 years old or 90 years old to be at risk for that, you know.
Yeah,
and
the underlying
smokers,
condition.
like who the fuck doesn't smoke a ton of pot, you know, and that we know, and or
no,
cigarettes.
Not me, definitely not me.
Right? But like, you know, weed, cigarettes, like guys smoke blunts every day, you know, like people aren't thinking about this shit. And it's, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. Like, fuck it, let's stay home. It's not that bad.
I think,
I'm getting my White Owls delivered by Amazon.
Yeah. You know, I mean, in this day and age, we got everything we need. You know, you could be sitting here, you could be like, you know, on your cell phone, entertaining the shit out of yourself all day, playing video games, FaceTiming with your friends. You know, just like we're doing. Like last night I went live on Instagram, and just like all my friends were jumping in, and it was like a great time. You know, we're just having a good time, like having drinks together, you know, just kicking it, cracking jokes, talking about shit. You know, you could, I mean, they just dropped that new Call of Duty. You could do that kind of shit. You know, it's like,
what's the premise on this new Call of Duty?
Oh, it's just like it's like that same deal that like all the games are doing now, like Fortnite and like Apex Legends and like all those games. Okay, so it's like you just kind of drop in on this giant map and just run around with your friends and kill people. It's super fun. Everybody loves it. Everybody's fucking hopping on it now. But like, it's just like I don't know. Like, how bad do we really have it? You know, being home. It's like we have Netflix, we have Amazon, we've got Tinder. You know,
what if we didn't? What if the internet crashed?
What
if the internet crashed?
What the fuck did people do during the plague? Think about them. Like, we survived through that shit as a race, right? Could you imagine going through the fucking plague with nothing? All you got is
one thing I wanted to circle back on was that the federal government was taken by surprise, because there's been a lot of rumblings all over the internet. The Young Turks, I think I sent you the video that they played the audio recording of the senator in Washington warning his big campaign donors years ago, like weeks back, that something big was going to happen weeks back, that something big was going to happen economically, and that they should prepare themselves and, you know, position themselves financially to profit off of it. So, I mean, I think that if some senators, like some like little, you know, shit-kicking states knew, obviously Trump knew, like all of his cabinet members knew, his family knew. I'm sure lots of big, rich, powerful people knew, and we were just kind of kept in the dark because, you know, they didn't want to create a panic.
Yeah, but also I think that they, not to cut you off, sorry, but also I think that a lot of those people that did know thought it was a complete load of shit too. So it's like they kind of didn't even act on it, you know? So I think you got a little bit of that going on too, you know, because fucking
definitely.
Uncle Bob's still drinking an Arnold Palmer and having, you know, playing it back nine over there.
Arnie Palmy.
Yeah.
Arnie Palmies. Yeah, man, who the fuck knows? I don't know. I saw some stuff today about like, oh, they knew, and it's like, you know, I mean, we said the same thing about 9/11 when that happened. Like, people were like, oh, they knew, or like they planned it. It's like, we don't fucking know. We can guess.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm the first person to not trust the government. You know, like in every situation. You know, like I'm the guy. Anybody that follows me on social media will know. Like, I'm always the guy in between. I'm like, fuck them, like fuck them all. They don't care about you. You know, they don't care about you. Democrats don't care about you. Republicans don't care about you. They're looking out for number one. They just package it differently. You know, Republicans pander to one audience, Democrats pander to another audience. That's my insight on everything. There was that movie about Dick Cheney. Did you guys ever catch that movie?
No, I didn't see it.
What's it?
With Christian Bale, where Christian Bale
yes.
played him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, if you want to ever know my opinion of what the fuck Washington, D.C. is, that movie nailed it better than anything. And that's all, you know, pretty much from what I've gathered, like that's all like solid information in that movie. You know, it's just people working the American system, you know, for personal gain. And there's just and they even show throughout the campaign how like unqualified this guy was to run for anything, you know, but his wife took over and like she was like really good at politics and stuff, and like she just pretty much like pushed him and got him, you know, to where he is today. And you know, it's like it's a game. It's a game, but his whole move was to really profit off of like Halliburton, which was the weapons contracting company, and then we had the war in Iraq, and then they made a ton.
And they rebuilt Iraq,
yeah, and it's really shady shit. But I look at it the same way with anything, you know, like you have like Democrats that are running, you know, and they're sponsored by, you know, these big medical companies and all this other stuff, and you have Republicans that are sponsored by whoever, and then this is how, you know, things pan out once they actually get into office, right? So it's like it's easy for me to pander to like the Christians and like all these other people if I'm a Republican and say like, you know, hey,
guys hear me?
What? What's that?
Is it freezing on you guys too?
No, you were freezing, but
oh, my bad.
By the way, Andrew, you got a black guy being executed on the TV right behind you. I don't know if you want to change that.
Oh, that's is that Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, it's Pulp Fiction.
That's gonna be me after my fucking rant is over. It's gonna be me in Hillary Clinton's basement. No, but whatever. I don't know.
Dead, baby.
I never trust like either side of anything. So it's like I'm not like the guy that's like taking sides or anything on anything. You know, I just think they're both full of shit. And I think they're all looking out for themselves, and they're all looking out for personal gain, just like everybody else on this fucking planet, right? But we have a situation like this where everybody gets caught off guard, us and them. And now it's like, fuck, we got to work together. So hopefully, you know, this is an opportunity for everybody to like really take a look around and go, you know, like shit, like this isn't working anymore. Like us.
What? Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, us being, you know, worker ants for other people, you know, that feel like they're higher up and that they're in a situation where they can, you know, just take control and control people and rule the world and all this other shit. Like we've outgrown that as a civilization. Like we need to get to a point where, you know, we're prepared for national disasters like this, and we're prepared to work together and, you know, push the human race as one, and not just worry about ourselves, you know? Like everything would be good for everybody if we really, you know, just get together, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
I think that one thing that we learned about this is like, you know, aside from people that are living paycheck to paycheck, which in a normal, you know, normal society, like if someone loses a job, they're living paycheck to paycheck, they become homeless. And, you know, that's like the way of life here in the US and, you know, for a lot of people. But the thing is, the wealth disparity is so high that essentially we realize that the country's living paycheck to paycheck. Like, you know, like if everyone stopped working for a week, like, you know, everyone's
country falls apart.
Yeah, all the mortgages default, everything, you know. So like essentially they built it in such a way that it's so disparaged that the country's living paycheck to paycheck, and that's got to change too, you know.
Yeah,
and to piggyback like off of what you were saying, like with the defense contractors, when times are good, like we're spending more now than I think ever. I think in Trump's budget, our defense spending is higher than it's ever been in the country by a long shot. And even now, like going through this, now that he's enabled Honeywell and 3M to sell directly to hospitals, again, these companies are making huge gains. Yeah. It's insane because they lowered the liability. Prior to that, they were only able to sell a small portion of these manufactured N95 masks and the ventilators and shit. But now that they can sell all of them, again, they're just going to get huge gains from government contracts.
Huge. No, yeah, I mean, think about, like, this is what's crazy to me. I kind of like changing gears a little bit. Like, think about how privileged we all were just a couple weeks ago, where we were literally arguing about how much fucking money we had and what to do with it. Like, we were like, you had like Andrew Yang being like, give everybody $1,000. And then like you had like Bernie Sanders, like, give everybody healthcare. We have all this money, you know? And then just one little thing, like, well, not little, but just how a few days can change the fucking course of everything, where we're like, what the fuck are we all going to do? That the whole economy is about to crash. Everyone's about to be in massive debt to their landlords, their fucking mortgages, their cable companies, fucking electric company, you know, like we're all about everybody, and everybody's on the same place. Like no one can work. Nothing's working. And it's like, we literally just 2 weeks ago, really, if you think about it, like we were just watching the Democratic debates going like, you know, if you're rooting for those guys, I mean, like I was a big Andrew Yang fan, you know, but then I was like, fuck it, maybe I'll just back Bernie, and then like he drops off. And now I'm sitting here complaining about, you know, Joe Biden and all sorts of shit. Like, fuck that guy, but I don't know, like torn, like Trump is terrible and Biden's also terrible, and it's the same shit again, you know, like. But
yeah, me and Jose were talking. This is a very convenient time for all of this to be happening.
Yeah, but it's also super crazy though. Like if you think about it, like what the fuck? Like we just had too much money. Like we just had so much money that we were talking about, like, you know, just give shit away. And now we're like, there's not, like, are we gonna be on the street? Like no one knows. It's fucking crazy how fragile
I think
an economy
like
is.
This like $1,000, $1,200 payment, I think it's gonna make a lot of people question like how the fuck our country is spending our money, like our tax dollars. Because if we could have just given $1,000 to people like once a month all along, like what the fuck? Like how much did we pay on other shit? Like I don't know if you guys remember when Rumsfeld and a couple other people in the Pentagon, right before 9/11 actually, came under fire for all the shit that they were writing off on the expense report. Like,
yeah. And then everything just disappeared, right?
Yeah.
A whole floor like disappeared. Right.
If we could cut back on that, it's like crazy ass spending on like a fucking $6,000 toilet seat or like a $1,200 hammer. Like how much of this money can actually go back to citizens?
Where are you guys talking about? Tower 7?
No.
No.
This is before 9/11. This is right before 9/11. And this is all factual shit. But this isn't even like conspiracy shit. This is like, this was in the news. Gotcha. This was like a thing. Like this was all over the place. Like they were under fire big time.
Sorry, I was at Tower 7 guy for a second real quick.
No, yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, I'm big on that too. That was why I was so behind Andrew Yang when he was pushing for, you know, the UBI and all that stuff. I was like, dude, that makes total fucking sense because, you know, there's like, I'm even into like, you know, aliens and shit, right? Like I love alien documentaries. I'm like not like this guy that's like it exists, and you know, like I'm not like an Area 51 crazy person, but I I love those documentaries because they're entertaining, right? Like I've been into that kind of shit my whole life, just like supernatural sci-fi shit. And what's cool about that stuff though is when you do get to like the factual shit, right? There's a lot of money that goes to like black government funding and stuff like that. So it's like they have all these weird little back end avenues to like redirect money, just like you were saying, where we don't know where all of that funding went to. And you know, when you're like privy to like all this stuff about how our tax dollars are just fucking disappearing all the time, it makes you say, what the fuck am I paying my taxes for? That's where you get a lot of libertarians, right?
Yeah.
They're fucking crazy too, though. So it's like, you know, it's like, realistically, why not just give money back to people? Like if I'm paying into this shit, why not just make me an investor into this company? Why not just pay me out too? Give me my market share. You know, if there's this booming economy, why am I fucking eating Hot Pockets and, you know, quick check sandwiches and shit?
Just start giving a dividend out.
Yeah, just give out the goddamn dividend.
The freedom dividend.
Freedom dividend, whatever. Yeah, but you know, or like I like the UBI better, but yeah, I mean it's yeah, universal basic income makes sense for us if we're in that situation again economically. Who knows though? I mean, people are talking depression right now. If this goes,
yeah, you know what's crazy? It's like we have Trump in office, and then we have Bernie running, and they're kind of using all of like Bernie's tools to like mitigate this whole issue. You know what I mean? So it's like you're
well,
doing
they weren't Bernie's tools; they were actually Yang's tools.
Yeah. And they're using all these like socialist tools that they're supposedly like nobody wants to be socialist, but then you have good examples in Europe of like a modern socialism where it's working out really well. You know.
Yeah, like the democratic socialist or whatever.
Exactly.
Well, it's easy. Yeah. It's easy when people are, you know, fucking miserable. Anyway, you know, like I don't know anybody that lives in Italy or Greece or you know Spain that's like, yeah, it's going great. You know,
like in Sweden and like Denmark and shit, like up in there, they're doing great.
I guess, yeah.
Their quality of life, I think, is highest in the world. Sweden.
For sure. They have in like Iceland, Greenland. What was it?
Yeah,
like those countries. Yeah. They're happy as shit.
But I mean, and like in terms of personally, because I mean, we could probably go back and forth like about what's going on in the news, how we're going to handle all this shit. I'm sure people have been watching the news all day, and they're kind of getting tired of hearing this. But like personally, how is this affecting you guys? Like, are you guys scared at all? Do you think it's going to go back to normal? Are you like really like worried about like how you're going to continue, you know, feeding yourselves, paying bills? How are you keeping busy? Like on a personal level, like how is this affecting you?
I'll go first. I've been pretty fortunate in this time that I was focusing like the past 2 years on like setting up different avenues of income, and I lost one avenue because of this. That you know I can't be out in the street, you know, like. So I can't do one, but I've set up 2 different ones that I can work from home, and you know I could work remotely and things like that, or I don't have to be exposed to the public. So right now I haven't seen any financial repercussions of this, but I know it'd be very different for me if like I work, let's say, for instance, if I was a waiter or something like that, and that was my only source of income, and I was just shut down 2 weeks ago, you know, and I'm basically banking on daily cash, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Shit'll be bad real fast for me. So I mean, the only thing I'm worried about is I live in my house and I share the house with my parents, but we live on separate floors, you know. But they're also, you know, more on the elderly side. I'm like the baby of the family, so you know they're older, and my own thing is just I don't want to get sick and beat this thing easily and get them sick in return, you know. So that's kind of something I'm dealing with. That I think is, you know, so a lot of people are in that boat too. But I know some people don't live close with their parents or grandparents. Some people live with their grandparents, you know, and like it's the same thing. But that's pretty much my only concern, you know, because I live with my girlfriend too, and she's young, and you know, so I'm, you know, we're not too concerned. She's out and working too, so you know, that's another concern. I'm living with someone else that's out still working, you know, not like stuck at home. But yeah, that's pretty much the only things on my mind, you know.
Yeah.
But what about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a very similar situation as you were. Like, I set myself up the past couple of years to work from home. You know, I mean, and we talk about this stuff all the time, you know, like how we do business and all this other stuff, you know, individually, and we give each other advice, and it's fucking awesome. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I have seen things slowing down drastically though over the past couple of weeks, and that makes me fear that I'm going to start losing clients. You know, even in my situation, who knows? You know, I mean, it could happen, because if my clients aren't working and they're not running their businesses, it comes back to me as somebody who's a consultant for them. And I've been lucky up to this point. You know, I'm hoping things turn around for my personal business. It may not though, and if it doesn't, you know, I don't know, just playing it day by day. But it's like, I think if you're somebody that's like grown up, like me, or probably you guys have too, like I grew up dirt poor, so I know how to survive. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like, I know how to survive, and I know that my parents, and probably your parents as well, like, I mean, my father came from a third world country. My mom grew up in Manhattan in the 50s and 60s. You know, like they had it way harder than I do in any situation. So it's like, you know, but I look at those things and I go, you know what, if they can make it through all that their entire lives and get us to the point where we get to live comfortably, and we can say that, you know, we're successful young men, and you know, we've got all these great things going for us, you know, we can do it too. So I don't worry about myself as much. I'm a lot in the same space as Jose, where I worry about my father. My father's 80 years old, you know. My mother's, you know, in her early 60s, but you know, it's my parents that I worry about. It's my aunts and uncles, you know, like they've all asked me to come visit them and stay with them because they're scared, and I've told them, like, I can't, because I'm fucking gross. You know, like before all this shit happened, I was out at bars. I was like, you know, I'm single, like, you know, I was throwing parties in my apartment, and, you know, like I was around a lot of people, and there's like a 2-week shelf life on this thing. I could be infected right now and not know, you know, like, who knows? You know, I've been out doing my thing, you know, just enjoying life. I've been hugging people, you know, I've been kissing people, you know, I've been going on dates and all sorts of shit. Like, who knows? You know, it's like, I'm the last person you need to be around, Mom. That sucks. That sucks to say. It's like, that's not fun. So luckily, you know, my parents live in Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere right now. So like, they're pretty isolated, but it sucks to like tell my mom, like, no, I can't visit you when she's scared, you know? And my aunts too. I have a cousin that has lymphoma, and he's like, hey man, you know, like he was always like he's my big cousin, you know, like he was always like my mentor and like the dude that I looked up to growing up and shit, you know, like he still likes to be that guy, and he's, you know, he's very healthy for someone that has, you know, that condition. But it's like, I mean, he's in better shape than anybody I know. You know, he manages it really well. But he was like, hey man, if it ever comes down to it, and like, you know, you're in a shitty place, like come here, you know, I got you. He's just being a good, you know, big brother type to me. And I was like, I can't, you know, like I appreciate it. I love you. I appreciate you, but I can't put myself in a position where I could get you potentially sick because you have a pre-existing condition. So it's like, those are the kind of things that bother me right now. Those are the things I worry about.
On that note, I want to say that that's something that really, I wouldn't be able to live with that if I brought, you know, if I decided to go. That's why I stopped going out like 2 weeks ago, because if I went out one night to drink and I so happened to get sick, and I wouldn't be able to live with that if I got my parents sick. I know we're hitting a really, like, you know, like the real meat and potatoes right now, but we do have to do that intermission right now.
Shit,
yeah, we're going to stop right now, then we'll come back with yours. All right, Andrew? All right. This episode is brought to you by Premier Rank Marketing. You know, any marketing needs you guys have for any businesses in the area. I know it's a rough time right now with the COVID-19 spread. So for a lot of businesses, their only lifeline is using social media and online, their online presence to reach their customers, being that they're only doing deliveries. Yeah, exactly. You use your social media. This is another reason why it's important to have a very big presence online, because sometimes life will throw some curveballs at you, and you know, you got to use what you can to keep your business going.
Nice. And Triotonic Podcast is also brought to you by Rutherford Headshots. You don't want to look all crazy in your headshots. You get that whack ass like triple chin, or got that lazy eye. You want to get it from the right angle. So you got to leave that to the pros.
They do teeth whitening. They do eye adjustments. They do it all.
Yeah, they're gonna make you look great, and you'll definitely get the gig. So just hit them up. We'll have the information in our descriptions, or you could contact us, and we'll get you hooked up. Rutherford Headshots is the place to go for all your photography needs.
All right, so we're back from
from our intermission.
Jose has our consent.
Thanking our sponsors. Thanking our sponsors. From thanking them. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, but we already said that.
Real quick, if you're in the New Jersey area, especially Morris County, Bergen County, Essex County, there's a distillery called Claremont Distillery. They converted all their distilling to making hand sanitizer. So there's like a huge hand sanitizer shortage. Yeah. They're making a ton of hand sanitizer. Look them up. Claremont Distillery. They're in Fairfield, New Jersey.
Wow.
Great dudes. They're trying to help out. So
nice.
If anybody sees this,
it'll give their first batch of liquors a nice little tang on the back end.
Their booze is great too. Their vodka is like a massive award winner. It's definitely better than Grey Goose. It's really up there. They have a moonshine. They have a whiskey called Off the Rails. Great. Shout out Claremont Distillery. They're fucking fire.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll include them on the description and stuff too.
Yeah.
So we want to go back to now, Andrew. What are some of your concerns with this coronavirus?
Coronavirus.
I'm not sure if you guys saw obviously both of you did, but to the listeners or viewers, the Cardi B video when she's doing the coronavirus thing.
I watched Cardi B and Offset the other day. They were live streaming them trying to figure out how to use their computer.
That's hilarious.
And I watched it for like an hour and a half, and I was like, "This is the fucking best thing that's happened to me all year." It was just Cardi B with her long ass nails, wait, how? It's fucking amazing. If you can somehow find that shit, watch it. It's an hour and a half of just the best thing you've ever seen. God bless those two. I fucking love them.
So for me, obviously, like with the same with both of you, concerns about catching it, being asymptomatic, and then prior to being symptomatic, transmitting that disease to somebody you care about is obviously a concern. So I've been doing all the hand washing and all those other precautions that the CDC recommends, and obviously limiting my contact with anybody actually. Besides that, I'm very grateful that I still have a job. I have a steady income. So yeah, it hasn't affected me as much as obviously people who have lost their jobs and have families to feed. I'm a single male with a steady income. So for that, I'm grateful. It's honestly shocking. Like I was telling Jose earlier, I went for a walk to CVS and 7-Eleven to get some vape pods, and all of the New Jersey Transit buses, they have like a bubble around them, so you can't sit in the seats near the drivers. So they have that social distancing. And then the thing that you're talking about, with the distillery making the hand sanitizer, it always shocks me that it usually takes like a tragedy or something kind of like a national disaster for people to actually come together and start helping out their community. I feel like as Americans, we somehow lack that sense of compassion and wanting to help each other on the larger scale. Don't get me wrong. If you see a homeless guy, throw him a buck or buy him a sandwich here and there. But I feel as a community coming together, with all these Facebook groups and the mothers, oh, I got diapers, I got wet wipes, helping each other out and shit like that. I feel that emotion, that phenomenon doesn't really show itself until it needs to be or has to be.
It's a current thing. It's because our influences are so about like monetizing. Sorry, I've had a few beers tonight. Monetization. I sound like fucking George Bush Jr. We're monitoring. Yeah, no, but I mean, we're so about like what we have and like getting more than other people, and you know, social media and stuff now too. You know, everybody's trying to ball out on the gram and look like they're fucking, you know, like everybody wants to look like they have more and they have more going for them, and you know, like whether you're married and you had your first kid and you want to act like everything's fucking perfect, you know, like, oh look, I'm living the American dream. We're at home, you're living a fucking nightmare. You know, it's like everybody's just trying to gain more and earn more and be better and be more important and go, haha, fuck you to all your exes and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of where we've been at. And it's like, I don't know, man. Sometimes like things like this, they might not be as bad as they seem, just so everybody can like take a look around and go, fuck, man, what have we been doing? Like, we're not.
It shows you like your bullshit life or whoever's bullshit life could easily be taken away.
Yeah, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. We need to fucking take care of each other more.
It also like, I think it like separates you from the grind you've been in and lets you really analyze it, because you gave you time to like really take yourself out of it and be like, is this really like essential for me? Is that really essential? Am I really putting my efforts in the right places? You know, and you know, even from a business perspective, we were talking about, you know, it's no surprise that, you know, you do marketing, I do marketing. We've talked about it before, but like, even down to the fact like retargeting where I'm putting my focus on, like the industries, you know, and like this whole new non-essential, essential category that's been going on. Luckily, a lot of the businesses I'm working with are still up and running. Mm-hmm. Some have called me. Some are past clients that did 6 months to a year and thought they had it on their own, you know, like they learn from you, they watch you, and then they think they got it. And, you know, I give them the blessing to do that. You know, I'm like, you know, I'll help you with whatever you need. But at the same time, now they're in a panic coming back, you know, because they let their foot off the gas, the social media train, and they're doing a lot of delivery now and stuff, you know. So it's like they want to get that quick fix and jump back in it. They're, you know, now, you know, like if things like this go down, what businesses you want to target always, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and you know, luckily that's something that I guess from a marketing perspective, I don't get really into like too much like marketing speak and like tips and tricks and things like that on my podcast. But, you know, really reevaluate the business you're doing and where you're putting your eggs into, you know, because
for sure.
Five steps to a fortune with those guys.
I don't want to be that guy, but you know, it's just something I figured I'd mention since, you know.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, it's like not just you know, I was talking about people on like social media and stuff and all that stuff, but just like the way we're constructed too as a country, where like we were saying before, people living paycheck to paycheck. Stuff like that. I mean, it kind of predisposes us to being in this grind, like you guys were saying, you know, like we have no choice but to be in the grind. It's like how a lot of people like hate cops, right? Like they're just like, oh, I'm fucking like, fuck all cops. Like all cops are bad and this and that. And like say all this other shit. But I'm like, dude, like they have to do their job, and their job description is a certain thing, and they have to do those things so they can keep their job. And it sucks that they have to do that. If you want to change police, you have to change their fucking job description. Like that's the real problem. It's not the person doing it as much as it is they're predisposed to do these things that we all fucking hate. So, you know, and also it's a fucking hard job on top of it, you know, like, so we're all predisposed to, especially on the East Coast or on the West Coast, you know, it's a little different if you're in like the middle America, but we're very like, boom, 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 make the deal, get the, you know, get the new thing, buy more stuff, you know, like pay the bills. We're all paycheck to paycheck, even if you're making, you know, 6 figures or you're making $50,000 a year. Your living expenses are just going up and up and up, and your, you know, the travel expenses or whatever it is, no matter how much money you have, you're that fucking far away in this country from complete disaster at all times, no matter how much fucking money you make. Unless you're one of the guys at the top of the pyramid, you know, and you're in DC and, you know, whatever.
The owner of Primerica.
Yeah, you're like fucking in the Illuminati or something. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. I mean, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking at that I'm like, you know, that's more clear now than ever. And there's a lot of shit that needs to change. This stuff doesn't work. If a flu can do this to an entire planet right now, multiple countries are buckling right now. We're looking at the potential of a fucking depression over a couple weeks of something breaking out. We got to change a lot of shit, you know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely like getting rid like a real critical point here. And I know Iran is really bad, Italy's really bad, and it still hasn't even hit South America too hard yet. To the fact that like I know there's like tons of Mexican people in Mexico like having like gatherings, like mass gatherings, just because they're like don't believe in it. And I know that, you know, eventually it'll get there, you know. Hopefully, I don't wish any bad on it, but I mean, you're gonna learn, you know what I mean? You're gonna learn. Huh?
I don't know, but Mexicans are the toughest motherfuckers on the planet, so it's like
yeah, no, I mean, but
they might just fucking shrug that shit up.
It's one thing to like
political hype.
Yeah, it's one thing to like antagonize nature, you know what I mean? That's like really where you don't want to go to that length, you know? Like, yeah, like if you don't believe in it, we were talking about this on I don't know, some kind of fringe Facebook group that I'm a part of. And it's like, why does it like, if you don't believe in it, why do you have to go to the lengths of like licking doorknobs and shit? You know, it's like, do you have to act completely ignorant and, you know, really put people in danger just to show that you're not scared? You know, it's like, I feel like some people put like the whole like terrorism kind of thing, like, I'm still going to live my life. You know, it's not terrorism. It's like a biological thing, you know?
This is a lot closer to like The Happening. You ever watch that movie?
No.
You've never seen The Happening?
No.
It's one of the worst movies ever made.
Is that with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. The plants are making everybody kill themselves. It's one of the funniest fucking things you'll ever see. It was
John
Leguizamo. Yeah. I saw that shit in the theaters. I never laughed harder in my life. I was expecting a really scary movie, but the premise was that the Earth was tired of human beings polluting it, and it just started putting out like the spore that was killing everybody off. To make a long story short, but like it's closer
like
to that
pollution and shit, like that was killed off, and the dolphins in the Venice canals and shit. Like just a few days that like our economy has contracted, you can see like the difference that we make on this planet in just a week.
Yeah, I wanted to actually mention that there are some changes in the water and the CO2 levels that you can see from space, like pollution in China. But a lot of those animal posts, those were actually like fake viral content, so don't believe in those too much. So there was like a elephant roaming the streets in India or some shit like that.
Oh, really?
Like eating bananas and like taking a nap in the street. Those are all fake, but there was a huge effect on the CO2 levels because of the pollution, the factories being shut down. So there are definitely benefits for that, you know. One other thing I wanted to mention too, I know we were all talking about how we're like single guys. Well, I mean, not single as in like,
you better watch yourself. You better fucking delete that.
Let me rephrase that.
There's a fucking chancla's about to hit him in the head and shit. I don't know if your girlfriend is.
And I mean, single as in the fact that we don't have kids. You know, my heart really goes out to these families that have children, especially like really young ones, and not even my prayers too. You know, that I don't pray very much, but you know, in these times, sometimes you know you dabble, you know, I dip my toe in a little bit.
It's kind of one of those, hey, buddy, remember me?
Yeah.
For a while, I've been, man.
You don't get to talk much, but
it's like, I can't imagine how I'd feel right now if I had some little beings walking around my house and like, they have no idea what's going on. And there's like, Coast Guard fucking rolling in and shit, and I'm like, wow, this is really gonna be me. I'm like that guy in The Pianist that has a kid and like, you know, he's got like a little like hip hat on and shit like that.
I actually have a friend. I don't want to name her name. I don't know if she wants to be out there. Well, I mean, you know, she's been sharing her story, but she's afraid that her son may have contracted it, and he's been on a, you know, like breathing assistance and stuff like that. And,
wow.
You know, she's a great person, and she's been sharing this. I don't want to like mention her name or anything, but
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's like a public figure too, but she's, you know, like it's been something I've been following, and I've just been like, damn, like I feel so bad for her because I know how great she is and her husband, and you know, her kid's so young, you know, and it's like, it's scary, man. Like seeing stuff like that, and she posts a lot like, "Hey guys, this is serious. Like, I'm a young mother. She's younger than me, and she's got a kid. She's got a little kid, and he's, he's going through something. They don't know if it is, the COVID virus, but either way, it's like those are the kind of people we need to look out for. That's why it's important. I want to ask you guys, before I forget, like, what do you think of the Florida thing? Where
the Spring Breakers? Not
just the Spring Breakers, but did you catch that clip of the dude going off on the mayor when they were in like the I guess it was like a town hall meeting or something like that, where so someone in like the local government just like lost it on the mayor. It was like, you should have shut down the beaches. You should have done this and that. Like we could have prevented all of this, and you're putting everyone at risk. And it's like, this clip's gone viral. Like you can look it up. Mm-hmm. But basically he says, you just made everybody make all these payments to like the energy companies and all this other shit that might have been like their last dollars that they've made. We just put people in hell, and the mayor just walked off, and she was just like, yeah, whatever, like kind of thing. She just walked out of the room, and there's stuff like that going on. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
see, this is the kind of thing. Like sometimes I'm a heavy proponent of like street justice, but I don't want to go down that route.
Whoa.
But something's got to be done. You know what I mean? Maybe like ruin her BMW or something. Not anything physical harm to her, but just like you got to have reparations.
Not condone violence or property damage.
Yeah, but there's a few things that I also want to touch on. Like, and on that note, being that we're putting the blame, not the blame, but like, someone has to answer for these decisions that weren't made in a timely manner. We could backtrack that all the way back to Wuhan and China and how they handled it, how they suppressed a lot of information, which kind of may have contributed to this spreading so widely in the world, So
they killed that guy, right?
They killed the guy, the whistleblower, first off. And, they were trying to suppress the information. He was talking about this a year ago.
Wow.
Now, when the dust settles, what do you guys think about like there being some investigations into China, how they handled it?
Dude, all right. So I think it's pretty obvious by this point that I'm not a Trump supporter, right? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
I don't think any of us are.
All right. So I think I made my case pretty well. I preface things with that because I'm about to make some statements about fucking China. So why is it such a big deal? Why does it become inherently racist that even Trump himself is saying this is a fucking Chinese? I mean, I know it's hilarious the way he said it when he did the China and all that shit, but like,
this is from China.
Yeah. But I don't think it's racist to factually say that like this came from there, which everything's leading to show, right? Like it's all signs are pointing to them.
I think it's how he's presenting it. That's the issue.
Yeah, well, him being him is a problem. So, like, let's just put that aside. But, like, I don't want this to turn into a thing where, in the media, like, we can't say, all right, like, we need to take a look at things with them. Like you said, there should be an investigation into them. There should be a lot of things. I mean, I just can't get over the fact that someone said Kung Flu.
This is a very actually heated subject on a lot of Facebook groups right now that I've been seeing. And this is the thing. Like, for instance, I know, like, we had the Spanish flu. And supposedly the statistics show that this has a very negative effect on people from the country where it's named after. So I don't know if it was the World Health Organization or the CDC. I don't know which one of them, but they were saying that they no longer, moving forward after that, wanted to name any strain of virus.
So that was the problem. He was calling it the Chinese flu. He was calling it the Chinese flu. All right.
Yeah, they didn't want to name it a region because then it'll put
there's no need for that.
It's bad stigma.
Bad stigma on the people, and then like the business aspect too. Like people doing business with the country.
True.
But then again, that the same thing happened. Like the reason I referenced the Spanish flu is because supposedly that was backtracked. That it started in Arkansas. So, it eventually got called the Spanish flu, I guess, because it became so big there. And then it was transmitted there heavily, and then it spread from there, but
that sounds like a redneck made it up. You know, like, oh, it's that fucking Spanish flu from that fucking guy. Like, it kind of sounds like a redneck.
Ernesto came over here.
Even China, they have Chinese flus. They were eating bats over there. Like, it just sounds like the same fucking backstory to AIDS when someone said that somebody fucked a monkey. You remember that?
Yeah,
like that was like the story for AIDS for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Where did like who watched this guy eat a bat? Like, who saw the guy fuck the monkey? Like, how do we know?
Well, they don't even know
where
that
these
it's
stories come from.
It could be a pangolin. Have you guys seen a pangolin?
You've heard that rumor though, right? That someone's like, "Oh yeah, this guy ate a bat," and that's what. Like, what?
Yeah, and
if you were gonna eat a fucking bat, would you be around anybody to tell that story? Like, you got to be in a real fucking serious situation to eat a bat, right?
The worst thing is the people that are like saying that the people that are like factually saying like, oh, they sell bats in markets in Wuhan and it's dirty as shit. And then like I'd see people online who are, you know, that are like, dude, I lived in Wuhan for like 2 years. It's like one of the cleanest cities in China that I've visited. I mean, they don't sell bats there because I've been to all the markets. So it's like these people that are just circulating bullshit online, and you know, they saw Contagion and there was a bat in Contagion, so they're like, oh, there's bats everywhere over there.
Yeah. Dude, we're the last people that need to call anybody fucking dirty as shit. First of all, just in the tri-state area alone, like, all right, break this down. New York City, filth bucket, right? Subways, disgusting. Brooklyn, just bad cocaine and everybody's fucking each other, right?
Millie's bad.
Everything's disgusting. Then fucking New Jersey, like, all we do is get drunk and sleep around, right? Then you've got Pennsylvania. I don't need to talk about it. You know, just
Philly candy.
Who are we to call anybody
out?
Philly, fuck me. Holy shit. I love it here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dogging the place, but we're going to talk about dirty. We're disgusting. You know, we're filthy.
Well, I think the issue is that it is proven that wet markets do exist in those regions. These people eat like a lot of crazy ass shit. I think SARS was the one that was like definitely linked to bats. And I watched like there's like an Australian version of 60 Minutes, and the dude, like before this became a huge thing, it was a couple weeks ago. This dude went undercover in Thailand to a wet market. They had bats, they had pythons, they had meerkats, they had pangolins. They had all of these animals that don't meet in the wild. Pangolins. They're like, it's like an armadillo-looking thing.
Oh, okay.
Google it.
All right.
It's been a lot of people have thought that was the origin of the coronavirus and not bats. But again, none of these things meet in the wild. So they have all these diseases that, like, you know, that they're not immune to, and they come together. Their immune system is under stress because they've just been captured and they're sitting in like this tiny ass cage, and these fucking diseases mix, and then they're brought, you know, passed over to these humans because they're not sitting there and after they cut the bats off heads is like, you know, like, all right, where's the Lysol wipes? You know, that is mixing with this fucking germ, and it's just like a shit show.
Damn, yeah.
So I mean, even if it's not like the origin of the virus, it's definitely not sanitary at all.
Not at all, yeah. But it's crazy, like, I mean, there's so many, like, really terrible sanitization situations all over the world, like in India, you know, like there's like that big lake where everybody just kind of like takes baths in. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like, it's like, how come nothing's ever come out of there? You know, like, it's just weird that, like,
a lot of times, like, these viruses, what it is like the like chances for this to have grown are like so slim, but it's like one bat's DNA just links up like really well with some weird animal, and then it just like creates this like super virus, you know, and it's just by chance, which it could have happened in any other region, you know. So it's like, it's almost like you can't really blame anyone, even if they sell bats, you know, like it was really like nature that, you know, somehow, you know, it's
fighting
like
back.
Yeah, like, you know, basically how like human, you know, like chromosomes and shit like that, like devolve over time, and like now you have a lot of cases of people that, you know, have human deformities and things like that. Like, it's kind of something like that, you know. It's like you can't really put a blame on it, you know. Like, it sucks that people sell this shit in the black market, yeah, but you know, normally under any circumstance it would be fine, you know, for you to eat a bat, you know. But I don't know, man. It does get a little racist, but I don't know. I think that shouldn't
be racist
from.
Go ahead.
I think that like the aftermath of them, like when Trump calls it like the Chinese thing,
That is kind of racist, yeah.
the Chinese virus, that's not essentially racist, but then it's like the trickle down effect, like the that is where the racism is,
It's just like I don't want this to turn into some fucking like political like ploy, like don't disrespect the situation by going, oh, see, like, and just making it about something that it's not.
Yeah,
it's like don't make this like part of the fucking presidential election. Don't make this like, I don't know. Don't like just start nitpicking at this guy's fucking words right now when we're in a massive crisis. Like, it's not about that right now, and it like makes me have less respect for the other side too. It's like, just
the other thing is like I think
the
way he's utilizing it, it's like very calculated too. So I think that's what's pissing people off. And then on top of that, like the pictures of his notes where he like crossed it out and wrote Chinese.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't help.
Are you serious? I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's pictures like someone took of his notes while he's doing the speech.
But the thing is, it's like we already know he's a scumbag.
Retribution.
Like it's not fucking news to anybody that he's an asshole, right? Like, I think we all know that. People either like him for it or they hate him for it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Him calling it like Chinese is retribution because there was, I'm not sure if he's like a news anchor or a politician over in China who said that the American soldiers actually brought it to China. So, Trump was going back and forth and calling it a Chinese virus because he wants to, get back at that guy. I mean, I don't think it's inherently racist, but I think that there is a difference between saying something originated in China and something is a Chinese virus. And I think, you psychologically, the way people perceive things could be different based on like how you word something or package something. It's kind of like all these
where it came from anyway, right? Like, do we really need to know? Even
well, I mean,
it did come from America, like maybe someone like did coke off a toilet that DJs, and it just I don't know. Like,
what another thing? Speaking of, how we got this, how are you guys getting through this? What are some of your guys like strategies at home? Being that now we're really like
the bordering
down and shit. Yeah. Do you guys? I have something, but I'll share it. After you guys go. But like, what are you guys focusing on now? Like, is there anything new you're doing in your life, or are you just things that you had on the back burner that you're getting to?
You go first.
You want to go first?
No, you go first because I've been talking too much.
Honestly, I've been working from home. Luckily, I'm used to working on like this huge screen, with a regular mouse and keyboard. So having to like do all of the work that I normally do in a day is taking like 10 to 12 hours versus 8. Also in the industry that I'm working in, due to all the panic work buying, our workload is like triple what it normally is. So I've been, keeping busy quite easily during the day with work, and then at night I'm honestly just binge watching movies. I watched Casino, Goodfellas, Reservoir Dogs, and both Kill Bills yesterday.
Nice. That's a good playlist.
Yeah.
So you're basically, what you're saying, your approach is you're just like kind of letting your work get a little spaced out more. Not coincidentally because your workflow is a little slower than at work, but also because the work from home vibe is also hitting you too, right? Because you get a little distracted here and there.
Definitely.
You're just making your day mostly all about work, and then you're just focusing on watching stuff that you already like. Just polishing it off, like getting it back in your memory. Okay, that's exactly. Cool. That's cool. That's kind of I have a technique for that. I'm gonna talk about a little later. What about you, Giancarlo?
Honestly, I'm like a homebody by nature, kind of. So like this is it's kind of nice for me, like that. I mean, obviously it's horrible, but it's nice for me that I don't have like that weird sense of like FOMO in the back of my head. You're like fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So honestly, I've just been obviously, I work from home regardless, but I've been focusing on work during the week and during the day. So like that goes without saying, but I'm also very active in like music and stuff. So like I'm working on music. I have a record that's going to be coming out soon. Actually, Kevin Kumets, you got to text me back. You owe me some mixes so I get the shit mastered. People have been waiting for fucking 2 years for this shit to come out. So my band Shoutout is putting out a new record. It's our first one in like 10 years. We're pumped about it. It's fucking amazing. I think you played a track last time I did the show.
Yeah.
And that was like an early mix, but so I've been working on just notes on like mixing and mastering that, and then I'm just working on other music, writing. I'm trying to do some like show writing with a friend of mine. I've been writing stand up too because I want to like dip my foot into stand up eventually. It's like a bucket list thing. And then I've been like falling back in love with cooking. Like I always loved cooking, but I just haven't had a lot of time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now the time's there. Like I have nowhere else to be. So it's like I've just been cooking like crazy, and I'm like really enjoying it. It's like really relaxing, and just like it's nice to just kind of like refine the things that you really love to do, and to just kind of be forced into a situation where it's like, all right, you're here with yourself. Like, who are you again? Like you could turn even like the worst of situations into a great growing or rediscovering kind of situation for yourself and finding. So, I mean,
yeah, I agree with that.
Thus far, it hasn't been terrible for me, at least. I mean, in that sense, like I've got enough hobbies. Also, fucking video games are great. It's like that's
Yeah, I definitely downloaded some on my phone that I this past maybe 2 years I've focused on not keeping any like games on my phone, just because I do a lot of work on the computer and my phone as well with social media. So I'll notice that like if I had like a new game that I was addicted to, I could just space out on that for like, and it'll go like 20 minutes and you won't realize it. And you're like, fuck, I have something I have to post right now. Yeah. But so I just, as a rule, I had stopped putting any games on my phone, except of course, I play a lot of chess. So I have a chess app, but I play speed games. So I'll play like a minute game real quick and it doesn't affect my social media too much. It actually helps when I'm creating content. Like, if I'm doing like pictures and things, I'll throw a chess game in the middle of it and like wipe my slate clean, but yeah, like I've just been basically working on music. I play piano, and instruments. I'm in a band with Andrew and like other bands. But I've had my bouts with like piano where I get really serious. But now, I just kind of delved into like more of like the songwriting theory and things like that. Like just really things that I wanted to attack that I know are like holes in my game, so to say, like, my songwriting game. And I've just been working on that. Put out a lot of songs. I fucking bore the shit out of Andrew sending him every fucking thing I do. But
did you link up with Chris while since he's been back or no?
Yeah. I met him. I met with him one day. We chilled and talked, and he's God bless him. He moved his slate up. He's heading out to, I don't know if he wants his business out there, but he's heading out to a place, remote place where they're gonna be safe and everything. So good for him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but hopefully he's wanting to jump on. Now that we're doing the remote style, he's hopefully gonna be jumping on very soon as well.
So I was talking to Snake. I was talking to Snake the other day, which by the way, Snake's been on this, right? Before.
Yeah, he's been in the previous.
Yeah. So he fucking prank calls me the other night, right? And tells me, which I don't mind putting shit on blast because fuck him. So he prank calls me the other night. He's like, "Hey man, I'm being all right, hold on, I gotta do my full Snake child thing." He's like, "Yeah, what's good? Yeah." I'm like, "Yo, what's up? What's up, Snake?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm being Montclair like tomorrow." I'm like, "All right, what's up? What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, no, like I made up with my ex-girlfriend, like, we're cool now, I'm gonna go party at her house." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." You're like, "She's a mutual friend of ours, right?" Yeah. I'm like, "You're full of shit. She fucking hates you." He goes, no, it's cool now. Like, I apologize to her. Like, this and that. He's like, call her up. I'm like, all right. What time are you gonna be? He's like, I'll be there at 10 tonight. Like, we're gonna party. I'm like, all right. So he hangs up. I call her up. I'm like, "Yo, did you make up a Snake?" She's like, "The fuck are you talking about?" And hangs up on me. And I was like, God damn. But he told me that like he met up with Chris a couple of times. Chris, me and him, we talk all the time. Like, yeah. And I feel so fucking bad because I had like a couple like early tracks that I was working on that I didn't finish yet. And he was like, "Yo, send me those. I want to like do something on them." And I was like, all right, as soon as I'm done with them, I'll send them. He's like, "No, just send them now. I'm like, no, because I'm like a perfectionist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like, if I'm not ready to send it, I won't send it. Dude, he's so mad at me right now. I owe him like 3 tracks. So Chris, I'm sorry. I love you. Shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, music, among both of us is a common thing, music production. And then the other thing I've been doing, of course, like movies and shows, but I came up with this game because like I hit a standstill where I'm like, all right, I could start fucking Survivor or some shit like that, you know, like, but there's so many seasons now. So I started doing this game where I play I call it the IMDB game, where it's like, I'll watch a movie and then I'll go to the movie IMDB and then I'll like see a cast character or something, or, you know, see something else the director did that's really good. And it just kind of keeps it fresh and the chain moving along. You know, sometimes you see some movies that you never got to that you always wanted to watch. You know, because sometimes I watch the same shit over and over. And you know,
like The Office and shit. I could watch The Office like a million times in a row. That and like It's Always Sunny. Wait, so do you have like a favorite new series that you've been watching at all? Or?
Oh yeah, I'm in season 2 of Westworld, and that's fucking amazing.
I gotta get on season 2. I saw the first season; it was amazing. I didn't see the second season. I know the third one's on now, right?
Yeah, the preview. I mean, not the preview. The opening episode. I guess episode 1 of the third season. Yeah, was last week. So I'm pretty excited about that. When I finish this, I could start that. But
did you guys watch Atlanta?
No.
Dude, fucking amazing. It's a Childish Gambino show.
Yeah. I watched like the first episode and then I never kept up with it.
Oh my god, dude, you gotta just dive in. That's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. And on that note, like after you watch that, check out Little Dicky's show. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, Dave.
No, I haven't seen it, but I heard it's really good.
It's fucking hilarious. I just man, I got to the third episode, and I don't know if I've ever laughed that hard in my life. It was
Which channel? What is it on?
I think it's on FX, but I watched it on Hulu. So it's on Hulu. They got like the first at least 3 episodes up now. Man, that shit killed me. It's.
You watch Ozark?
I love Ozark. Yeah.
Nice. That's coming. I think next week, right?
I can't wait, man. I love that show. It's so good.
So
yeah, man.
Other shit that kind of got like buried under the mix with all this was Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You know what? We'll get to sports. We do have to hit one more intermission. We'll make that like the sports. Bow out gracefully. Yeah, so you know, for all of our non-sports fans, they could just shut it off now. But all right, we'll be right back. Andrew with the intermission music.
Triotonic. All right, cool.
Nice.
I had to get my sports helmet on. All right, we're set.
Yeah, so the most recent big move, we'll start with that, of course, Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay. Yeah, what do you guys think about his move? Tampa Bay, like personally, it came out of nowhere for me. I didn't even think about them.
Yeah, they're such like a small market. I honestly was pissed off about it when I first heard it, because like
when you think of somebody of his caliber, you think like, oh, he's going to go to an LA, he's going to go to a New York, he's going to go to a team that is pretty close and just needs like that one special something to push him over the edge to get the chip. But he went to Tampa Bay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they've been making enough moves, you know.
Yeah.
They've been building. He was kind of a missing piece for them, you know. So it's like, you know, off-season moves. They're in good position to be a good plug-and-play team for him. It makes sense, you know. I mean, and also he needs to get paid. You have to think about how many times that guy took pay cuts so he could be in Super Bowl winning teams, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Him, so we don't know how much yet, but I'm sure it was pretty good.
You know? It's probably going to be like $30 million a year, I heard.
Yeah, it's got to be something solid. I mean, they're not going to – there's no way he left the opportunity to retire a Patriot for less than a fucking ridiculous amount of money.
Who do you guys think has more to prove now that Bill and Tom are separated?
It's got to be Tom. Yeah, his clock is ticking, you know.
Yeah, and then you know, Bill. Everybody knows that his system wins Super Bowls. You know, it's like
when he has Tom Brady.
Nah, I think you're gonna see. I mean, I don't know who their new quarterback is gonna be, but I think you're gonna see that it's a Bill Belichick system thing that works.
But what happened the year he was hurt? They had Matt Castle. They didn't even make the playoffs.
True.
Yeah, you know what I think? Some of the things I think about with him gone from New England is I feel like there's going to be like a push to get Garoppolo back after he leaves 49ers. That's going to be one thing that's out there. I think also Belichick has a lot more. I think he's still going to be coaching after Brady retires. So, you know, he's going to be good and set on being able to get another chip. Yeah, I mean, I think like one of the big things I heard about Tom is that he wanted control of the play calling. So I think that's something that he came to terms with, which I never saw Bruce Arians giving up the reins like that.
This year?
Because like I feel like Bruce Arians of all people is like one of the most like control freak offense guys there is, you know, because he's like an offensive guy. That's why I was floating to you that there were rumors that he was going to go to the Dolphins. I thought it made a lot of sense because the head coach was a defensive guy. He wouldn't care to like let him and the offensive coordinator, you know, let him do whatever. But yeah, I thought it was Vegas all the way because the new stadium.
I was leaning towards the Raiders too, but I don't know. This is the most interesting offseason I've ever, that I can remember. Because the draft is really interesting. Where everybody's positioned. Who's everybody's teams? I'm a Giants guy.
Giants as well, but I also like the Colts.
Okay. Dolphins? Yeah, I like the Dolphins a lot too. But yeah, I'm a Giants guy. So I don't know. I've just been really paying attention to the draft because we have great draft positioning. We're at number 4. Who knows? We might trade down. We might take a guy like Isaiah Simmons, or we might take Becton, you know, for the O-line. Or there's like Thomas for the O-line. Like there's so many options. There's a lot of like depth at certain positions that are super key this year. Like there's a lot of like serious talent. There's pass rushers. There's offensive tackles. There's linemen, you know, like deep. There's even a lot of really great running backs that are flying under the radar because there's also great cornerbacks and, you know, positions that across the board are really in need right now. So
yeah, I'm excited for Chase Young, and
super excited for Chase Young. And then what happened with him in the draft, because he might go to the Redskins, but the Redskins might say, you know, we're good at the edge. We might. Something that people aren't talking about is that I think the Redskins might trade down because they have their edge is secure. They don't need Chase Young. If someone offers them the fucking world for that pick, you know, so they can get a quarterback.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they could definitely do some work on that. And another move I heard about is the Dolphins, since they have the 3 picks. They I'm hearing that they're trying to do a deal with Cincinnati to give them the 3 picks and a second rounder and a 2021 pick. That's what it's looking like right now to get that first pick. But then again, you never know because Cincinnati, Burrow's an Ohio kid. So they might want that legacy like LeBron style, you know, like they want the kid from the hometown. But from what I heard, I don't think he wants to go there.
They just got rid of Dalton though. So like whatever.
Yeah. I just think with all those picks, they could still pick up another, you know, a solid team, and you know. But I think that's a lot of picks. Would you do that, Andrew? Would you do that trade being a Dolphins fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an easy one for you.
Yeah.
Who do you want as a Dolphins fan to be the new quarterback? Do you want
Joe Burrow? I don't want
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I know you don't want Tua. Would you take Herbert? What's his name?
Yeah,
Herbert?
I mean, I would. I think there's a lot of holes in our team that we need to develop and fill. But also like we're looking at now for like next year's draft, and like I was telling Jose, I think like those generational players, those franchise players, come like every 2 or 3 years. So I think right now we gotta like strike while the iron's hot and try and do what we can to get up to the first pick and get them. We've done the Byron Jones pickup and the Van Noy. Those are huge.
Yeah, I wanted Byron Jones for us, so congrats.
And we still got a shitload of money to spend. So.
Yeah, you guys are really in a good position to, you know, if they make the right decisions this offseason, like if you guys, I think Herbert's the guy for the Dolphins personally. But, you know, when you say you don't want Tua, is that because of the injury or because you just don't like how he plays?
No, the injury. I think it's super high risk.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like a super invasive like surgery that had to go on, right? Like, wasn't it?
No, I mean they're saying that he's gonna be fully recovered back to 100%, but you can't guarantee that.
I kind of feel like that dude is so supremely talented. He's one of those guys that I was just watching his highlights the other day. You know what's funny? Like, you can't watch anyone on his team's highlights without just hearing them scream about Tua the whole time because he's that good. You know, the guy's an amazingly talented guy. And you know, I've seen other guys. I mean, like even Odell Beckham had like a torn ACL, I think, when he was coming out of college, didn't he? Like,
I don't know.
and then he didn't even hit the league yet, and then he came in and he fucking did everything that he did. So it's like, I mean, I could be wrong. Football heads, if you see this, my bad. But I think, like, you know, there's been a lot of people that came out with like way scarier injuries that have done great things. I think Tua is going to be one of those guys. I think
what scares people is just that's the infamous Bo Jackson hip dislocation, which ended like this, you know, I guess one of the biggest like Supermans in the sport of all time, you know.
Yeah.
So he could have died very easily from that if it like would have ruptured his artery. Or
how long ago was that?
Yeah.
That was
in the
like mid 80s, right?
You know, I mean,
late 80s, I think.
Come on,
because it was around the Jordan era. You know, like when Jordan first started up, it was Bo Jackson and Jordan.
Remember when a torn ACL was the end of your career? I mean, now it's like they just ripped the Band-Aid off.
Look at Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, they fix these guys like the Terminator now. It's like, that's why I don't put too much stock in these injuries when I see a guy that's like a hyper competitive super talent, you know, and Tua is not one of those guys that's like, you know, relying on running and relying on getting hit. You know, he's like a great pocket passer too. Like that guy.
That was 91.
Throw the shit out of the ball. Yeah. But he's got a cannon for an arm. His reaction time is incredible. I mean, he's really great. If he does fall down the numbers in the draft, someone's going to be really lucky to get that guy, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but then there's also the thing that the coordinator over at LSU was from the Saints, so Burrow was running like a pro offense.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Burrow's great. I mean, there's talent in this draft. It's crazy. It's not like last season. Last season's draft was really, and the season was great. But it was like a couple guys, you know, like everybody wanted, like, you know, people were looking at Saquon Barkley, people were looking at, you know, Baker Mayfield and shit like that a couple years ago. And
Baker Mayfield, you guys think he's a bust?
Yeah,
I think he's got one more opportunity to show. You know, last year,
the third season.
Last year he sucked.
You know, he's too self. You know, he's got the same problem that Odell has. You know, they're just too into themselves. And if he's really moved away from that, like he's leading people to believe in his interviews now, and he's, you know, become a different person and he's got a different mindset, then he can be great. Because his first year he looked really good. Second year not so much. You know, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I think his I had a lot to do with coaching too. I think
maybe
you know, it was like the perfect storm for him to just, you know, perfect shit storm for him to just really suck, and it was a bad situation. Odell was hurt. They mismanaged him, and he had the fucking sports hernia that whole time.
Injury. He had, you know, 2 fucking great running backs. You know, like who's got depth like that at running back?
Yeah, and Chubb had a great year too.
Dude, Chubb, and then you got fucking what's his name?
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Like,
yeah,
who has those? Like, that's like the Giants having Jacobs and Bradshaw back in the day.
Yeah,
you know? Like
Thunder and lightning.
Yeah, dude. Like, what are you doing? Don't even throw the ball anymore. Just wear down the. I don't know. I mean, it's bad coaching. But his reaction time was shit. Like, he wasn't given the right looks. You know, there were a lot of plays where you could see Odell was completely wide open in the end zone and he didn't even look at him. And it's like, what did you pay $90 million to this guy for? So I don't know.
Did you guys hear about what happened with Bill O'Brien from the Texans and DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins, yeah. I was actually going to bring that up. They traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second rounder, which first of all is completely disrespectful.
Yeah.
Not to like rip off Stephen A. Smith, but you know, it's just beyond disrespectful for such an elite talent. Like, and I had to look. No, I don't have a Stephen he, you know, I was reading into it because there has to be more to it, and I found that Michael Irving had gone on a show and dropped all this information about how Bill O'Brien said that the last time he had a meeting with DeAndre Hopkins, and the last time he had to have this type of meeting was with Aaron Hernandez. So right off the bat, the meeting started on like a sour note because he's comparing him to Aaron Hernandez, and then from there he went on to say how he doesn't like how DeAndre Hopkins has all his baby mamas around because he's got a lot of different kids from different women, which then on top of that, you know, other people are like, would you want them not around and him being a bad father? Like, what are you trying to say? You know, like he happened to have kids with different women, and he's basically saying it was like an entourage of women, you know, like.
Oh, sorry, he has like good relationships with the fucking mothers of his children, you asshole. Shit.
Yeah.
Did you see that with fucking Antonio Brown when he was like cursing off his like ex on his front lawn and like in front of his kids and shit? Like, would you rather that?
But the thing is, and Stephen A. Smith brought up a good point. He was saying that as the coach, he's his boss, and the point that he's trying to make is like the atmosphere that creates having his baby mamas there isn't an atmosphere conducive to success as a player and for the team. As the coach, he kind of does have a right to do that. It's just by like when people say, "Oh, you got so many baby mamas and I don't like him around," I think it's automatically perceived as he's being racist and he's trying to single him out. I think, you know, it could have been that he was just trying to do what was best for the atmosphere for his team.
Maybe.
Yeah, but the atmosphere that would not be the current atmosphere if it wasn't for him. I mean, they were such a huge offensive weapon because of him. Kiki Kuti was hurt. Will Fuller was hurt. He was like almost dragging them to the finish line of the AFC Championship.
Is it a distraction? Is it like, hold up, I got to walk off the field in practice because
he's the reason Deshaun Watson had a great year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're not like, you know, detracting from the merit of or how good he is, but like we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like he could have had a bad game, a couple games, and it was because like he was stressed and because of his baby mom or something.
You know, it could be a distraction for everybody else. You know,
yeah.
Like not him. Like maybe the rest of the team sucked because there was all this shit going on. You know, just when you have these superstar players, something that my cousin always brings up to me. I was real upset when we traded Odell, right? Like I was fucking broken. I was so heartbroken. I was like, oh, not Odell, oh god. You know, like I was so upset about it. My cousin was like, nah, that motherfucker's you know, he's terrible in the locker room and this and that. And there's always these stories about him being a distraction and this. And I'm like, fucking distraction, man. The guy's a superstar. And he's like, wide receivers don't win Super Bowls. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, look, any of these superstar wide receivers in the history of the NFL have not won Super Bowls. They just don't do it, you know? And he's like, if you're a distraction and you're fucking up the rest of the team and you're being a diva and you're doing this and that, it's gonna fuck up the whole team. So maybe the baby mama thing wasn't like the best choice of words, but maybe this was distracting everybody else. Maybe it was getting in the way of their drills. Maybe it was, you know, he might have had to be like, hey, wait, I gotta go take care of something. My baby's pacifier fell out. You know, like who knows? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah. I think what I like to do in that case is like look at other situations, because this could be like one isolated where you're like pinholing your vision, you know, because you're looking at just one thing. But there have been other reports of defensive players that have like put the word out around the league to not go to Houston because of Bill O'Brien, specifically black players.
Oh.
And then there was a player that came out and said that he was specifically not going there because of what he heard about Bill O'Brien in the locker room. So, you know, you got to put some of that on the wall too, you know, like
yeah. So yeah, that all adds up for sure.
Yeah, and then that's why I think there's more of that like racism.
Yeah,
like
it's a shame that that's so like prominent in the NFL. You know, there's like this weird like black cloud of racism over the entire league, honestly, which is unfortunate, very unfortunate. But it's also apparent. And then you know, it's very confusing for the fans because it's like you have guys that are trying to fight the good fight, and you can't tell if it's for them or for the greater good, you know, like the whole Kaepernick situation and all that shit. Like, it's like at what point is, you know, like, who do we even point the finger at with all this shit? Like,
didn't Bill O'Brien coach Penn State after Paterno?
He did. Yeah, he did.
That didn't really follow him to. I just remembered about it.
You ever seen his son? His son's got like special needs. He's got like some crazy disease. He's like completely paralyzed. They gotta feed him, like wipe his nose and shit.
Bill O'Brien?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I have not seen that.
How does that turn you into a fucking racist? What's the backstory on that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. What do you guys think about? I mean, so you're a Giants fan, Jose. Like, what do you think our pick is? Do you think we stay at 4? Do you think we trade down? What do you think?
I mean, I think you got to take that 4 pick, because after that, it's looking pretty bleak,
Have you been like keeping up with these players though that are available at 4?
I've just been looking at the quarterback this year, to be honest. The quarterbacks and like I said, Chase Young, some of the defensive players, but I know there's a lot of like good linemen that are out there.
Looking at Isaiah Simmons?
No, I have not been looking at them. But
this is the big debate online now. Do we go with one of these offensive linemen? There's like 3 or 4 super incredible offensive linemen, but then there's this linebacker named Isaiah Simmons. And when we're done, I want you to check out his highlights, because this kid is fucking incredible. I think he's better than Chase Young.
Yeah, I'll definitely check him out. And,
but he's amazing. He can do anything. And the big question is, do we finally address the offensive line, or do we go with this like Odell Beckham level, Saquon Barkley level, like sports car of a human being, right? Do we take that guy? Like, that's like the big debate now that all the Giants fans online are having. It's like, what do we do with that number 4 pick, or do we just trade down? Do we just trade down and get a couple other picks? Maybe trade with the Dolphins or something like that.
Do you guys think Daniel Jones is actually the answer?
I think he's great. I think that he's going to get better. I think that I would like to see them go in the direction of the O-line, to be honest with you. Yeah. That's something that's plagued them for so long, and it's just like you got to shore that up, because like
it's a sensible decision. Yeah. That's a sensible decision, but you have to remember with offensive linemen too. It's extremely rare for an offensive lineman to be great year 1, right? It's a big risk, because remember how much Flowers. We took Flowers. He sucked for like 4 years, whatever it was. And if you get yourself into a situation like that, like they take Becton, who's like a physical specimen. He's this gigantic offensive lineman, right? He's like just this monster of a human being that everybody expects to just like kick ass. But he's got like problems with his form. They say like they don't like how he bends his knees or this and that. Like I don't know too much about, but like I'm like I look at like something like that. Like maybe we take this guy Becton, and what if he doesn't deliver? Then it just looks like, oh, it's Flowers all over again, and you're screwed, right? But if you make the decision, you go with a guy like Isaiah Simmons, who's a fucking superstar on the defense, all of a sudden we fix our shitty defense with all the other offseason moves that we've made. Like now it looks like, oh, well, at least we improved, right? The offense still sucks, our O-line still sucks, but the defense looks great. So,
yeah,
and
for sure.
To answer your question with Daniel Jones, I think he's good enough that if the system's good and he has the right people around him, he can do great things. I don't think he's
you think he's like a game manager like Tannehill?
I think he's got great reaction time. Like his looks are incredible. He sucks at holding on to the ball, which they could work on. But other than that, I mean, what's fucking wrong with him? He's got great instincts. He can move. He's super focused. I mean, he's a hard worker. I mean, like, what more can you ask in a guy? He doesn't have like that crazy, insane, super talent that a lot of these guys have, but he's good enough. He's trainable.
You said you're a Giants fan, but would you say they're your favorite team? Who's your favorite team, the Colts or the Giants?
I mean, I grew up as a Giants fan, but I mean, I was a Colts fan, because of Peyton Manning.
Okay, so if
and
the Colts
also because
go ahead.
No, the Edgar and James era and shit like that.
Yeah. So if the Colts had the number 1 pick, who would you draft?
Well, I mean, they need a quarterback right now, so I'd look at the quarterback, of course.
But who would
it be?
I don't know. I don't really like Burrow. I mean, he's great, and I it's just like some of the talent he got beat out by and things. Like if you look into his history, I see some flags there, But again, like I was telling you, you never know because like you have the Russell Wilsons and the Bradys, and you never know how people are going to react to the next level. But I don't know, something about Burrow. He just reminds me of like the Barkleys and the Sanchez's that are just like flashy, big name, like nice, looking dude, and like they just they have everything, and it's just not at the next level,
The Matt Leinerts.
Yeah, like he just reminds me of that, and
they got to make things for their team, like it like the thing is, it's easy for us to look at like the combine and look at like people's college seasons and go, oh, this guy's super talented, but are they going to fit for the team? Are they going to fit for the schemes? Are they going to fit for all this shit? So it's like that's where the draft gets super interesting because it's like we don't know what they know. We don't know what they have planned. So a lot of times when you watch these drafts, like people don't go by like they don't work out the way everybody's mock draft goes. Where everybody expects like this guy to go here, this guy to go here. That's what's exciting about draft day. You watch like that first round and you're like, oh shit, like they took him. Who the fuck is that guy last year with Daniel Jones? Like everyone's like, who the fuck is Daniel Jones? I was sitting there having a fucking panic attack in my thinking we were going to take Dwayne Haskins, and I was like, who is Daniel Jones? I'd never heard of this guy.
Turns out I was shocked when they didn't take Haskins.
I think that a lot of the things with the draft, like for instance, like what was I gonna say about the Giants, and like when they took Daniel Jones, it was a real shock to everyone, but he had a lot of great games this year, like that game versus Tampa Bay. I think he put up like 5 touchdowns, and like
his rookie season is nothing to shit on. Like he had a great rookie season. He had a much better rookie season than I think Eli did. Eli had a
for sure
first go, and he didn't even play like as much as DJ did, I believe. So, I mean, he broke some records as a rookie. He did a great job. He has holes in his game. He got hit a little harder than he's used to. He lost the ball. Has some stupid. He doesn't know how to slide yet. Like he's got like little technical things he needs to work on. Outside of needing to not fumble the ball, I mean, you can work on that. Just if Eli left him his glove, he should be good. Like he should be straight.
Yeah, I think like for me, the draft this year, just to go out on the NFL note, before we talk about the UFC to end this, as far as like I was a big Tua guy until that injury, so like it kind of just shot my whole quarterback perspective. I just feel like Tua's like he's pretty technical and he's got like a amazing arm, but he just feels like he still could be molded even more. You know what I mean? Like with Burrow, I don't know. He just seems like a finished product, and like he's gonna come to the league and then just like he'll do all right, but he'll be like a Dalton. You know what I mean? He'll be like, a red rifle. Like he'll put up good stats and just like underperform, not make it to the playoffs. And
a lot of people are talking about him going to New England. I think Bill could get some good shit out of him.
Dalton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
I watched. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say get the red rifle up in Boston. He'll fit in right there pretty well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Watching Mike Tyson's interview with Eminem for some reason last night, and I love Mike Tyson's podcast. I don't know if you guys have watched it. It's called Hot Boxing.
I've seen 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm like the biggest Mike Tyson fan ever. So, but I was watching his interview with Eminem last night. And it was just the two of them kind of like dorking out over each other. It was actually kind of adorable how much respect they had for each other and shit. And Eminem said something to Mike. He was like, I can't believe that you did what you did as a teenager and then in your early 20s. And he said something like, he's like, it's all about, when your time is. Some people peak in their 20s. He was like, I peaked around like 25, 26. That was like the height of my athleticism. And then, I started to dip. He's like, but some people don't peak till they're 30, 31. Some people don't peak until they're 40. He's like, it's different for everybody. So what you're talking about the quarterback situation, this might be his fucking peak.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, if you don't look like there's the roof is higher than where you're at now as a college quarterback, just like a Mark Sanchez, who was, peaking in college. There wasn't much to go from there. You know, he didn't really grow, and then he looked like a fucking joke for the majority of his NFL career. You know.
Yeah. Then he butt fumbled, and it was all over.
That was it. And he never recovered from that. They put him in other teams, you know, other situations. Geno Smith, another one. Not to pick on the Jets or anything, but I mean, you know, you gotta be careful with those picks. So UFC though, what's up?
Yeah, that's we'll end the show on the UFC note. We'll do that real quick. You know, as everyone knows, like all the sports are canceled. Basketball players got coronavirus and shit, and now UFC was one of the last sports to be canceled. They had the event in Brasilia. And it was with no audience members. It was a great event. They are mentioning that there's 2 people from that event that were potentially exposed to coronavirus, but that's been like kind of buried down in the media. But now this leads to the fact that, you know, Dana White's been doing a lot of interviews, and he follows the lead of Trump because Trump is a close friend of his. So he always wants to follow what Trump says. And now that it's like a lockdown of like 10 people or less, they can't run the event, you know? So he does his interviews, and then there's this one fight, which is Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. This is the 5th time this fight has been set up. Every time, either it's injury, Ramadan, something's pushing this fight away. And one time, it was close to the fight, and Tony Ferguson tripped on a wire backstage, and he popped his knee out. They couldn't fight.
God.
Yeah, so this is going to be possibly the best fight, like, statistically, like, you know, saying like the best quality of undefeated fighters to ever fight in the octagon. And it's going to be a huge fight. And now he's talking about it like it's matter of fact, like it's still going to happen. And this is in April. They're talking about moving it to Abu Dhabi. They're talking about doing it with no audience. And so what do you think about that? What do you think is going to happen? You think this fight's going to go through?
Oh, 100% it happens. There's no way in hell. Like, Dana White will punch Donald Trump in the face before everybody that loves this sport has been waiting forever for this shit to happen. It's the fight fans fight. It's not like Conor McGregor spectacle or anything like that, where it's like going to be the biggest pay-per-view of all time or anything. But we need this shit. Like,
when is it? When's it scheduled for?
April 5th, I believe. Let me just check that out.
It's supposed to happen in April, I believe. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy situation. I could see them. I mean, I watched the last fight where they did it with no audience, and I actually fucking loved it because it reminded me like the old Pride days where it was just all quiet. I used to watch the Pride fights back in the day where it was the crowds used to be silent. It was all in Japan, and you could hear the corners, you could hear every hit, every punch. Like, I love that shit. So like, it was kind of like a cool throwback for me. And the card was really good. Like the fights were really good. You know, it was as a fight fan, it was cool to see that again. And I love that for Khabib and Tony. Like, no bullshit, no like screaming fans, just listening to the corners and the technicalities of everything that's going on. I'm all about it. And if they could take it to a place called like Abu Dhabi, where they can make up for the financial repercussions of not having like a big live gate, where Abu Dhabi will just pay out mad money just to host something. I think that makes total sense, and I think they'll do something like that. I definitely see them, the fight happening for sure, barring like anybody getting struck by lightning or whatever. But I think, and those 2 motherfuckers are so crazy between Tony and Khabib. Those motherfuckers are insane. So like, even if one of them does have coronavirus, we're not going to find out about it. They'll fight with that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was telling Andrew about that, about, you know, how the Japanese crowds, how they're very silent, and you don't hear a reaction of them unless something like really significant happens in the fight. They're very respectful. They clap almost like it's a movie, like at the end of the fight. But one thing that I wanted to mention about that is I just feel like, you know, not to be very like bleak and like grim, you know, whatever about the situation, but they're like, if this is the end, we got to get this. The Dana White's like, we got to see this fight before the world ends.
It will not be like the most fun fight in the world, too. Like, people are forgetting about that. It's not going to be like this slobber knocker fight because of their styles. Like, the reason I'm excited about it is because I know that there's going to be so much high level grappling going on. Like, Tony is so good off of his back, and Khabib is so good on top that this is like the most interesting UFC fight if you're a fan of like grappling, you know, because Khabib could take anybody down whenever the fuck he wants, no matter who you are. You know, I mean, he's the best MMA grappler, the best MMA takedown guy since GSP. So it's gonna go to the floor. But if you watch a lot of Tony's fights, dude, he's a star student for 10th Planet. He's got like crazy guard stuff. His chokes are insane. His angles are super weird. He's very unorthodox off his back. If there's anybody that I could see beating Khabib, it's Tony by submission, you know, and that's why it's such a fascinating fight. I actually would put my money on Tony, just because.
Yeah, I'm a big Tony guy myself, and you're absolutely right about that. He's got a very active guard. You know, 10th Planet is very well versed on the lockdown. You know, his hips are crazy. He could jump for that armbar like it's nobody's business. He also does the what's it called, when they throw the leg over in 10th Planet and he grabs the leg like that, like it's like a guard. He traps you with the leg.
Oh,
a lot of 10th Planet guys do that. It's escaping my mind what they call it right now. But,
I want to remember their name for it.
Yeah, but he's very effective at like neutralizing you when you're in his guard.
Like lockdown or some shit. No, not lockdown. Something else. What do they call it? They have a name for it. It's like
rubber guard.
No, they don't call it rubber guard. They call it something else. They have like a name for it. I don't know. I can't think of it.
Yeah,
everybody calls it rubber guard though. Like even like in like racing jiu-jitsu, they call it rubber
guard. Yeah. You throw the leg over the shoulder and then grab it with your arm. You know, and then now you're just pretty much like almost like in a upside down cradle. You know, you like cradle yourself around the guy. He can't move. But I just think Tony's got a lot of. He's got elbows from the bottom. Khabib's not going to be in his normal situation where he's smothering him how he's done to everybody else.
He can.
And yeah, I think I got Tony on this fight, and it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be interesting though once they get like sweaty, like once they're in like the second and third round though, because I don't know if like the rubber guard's going to work as well. I mean, BJ Penn used to pull that shit back in the day in later rounds, so it might work. But that's something that's hard, you know. I mean, I like the rubber guard a lot when I'm on my back. Because I'm a shorter guy, and for some reason when I'm like messing with like taller dudes, it works out for me. Those rubber guard assassin guys too a lot on Instagram. Have you ever followed them? They're like 10th Planet guys.
No.
They do really crazy shit from the rubber guard. They're fucking amazing.
And you do a lot of no-gi, right? So
yeah, I'm like
I know that's like a lot even easier when you're in the no-gi, you know, because 10th Planet's no-gi, right? Mostly no-gi.
Yeah, they're all no-gi guys.
Yeah, so I know that with the gi, it's a little harder because of like the fabric on your, you know, the whole pants and shit.
There's a lot more to grab on, you know. I mean, even defending yourself in the gi is a little bit easier, in my opinion. But I mean, you know, who the fuck am I? But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be so interesting to just watch those guys finally get at it, because you've got like, you know, Tony's a wrestler too. He's not just a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, he was a pretty decorated wrestler. He's not at the level of Khabib's wrestling, but I mean, there's a chance that he could sprawl and brawl it, you know, like his takedown defense is pretty fucking great, but I don't think he's afraid to go to the ground. And that's going to be what's so cool about it, you know? So I could be more excited for that fight. I don't think there's a chance in hell that shit gets canceled unless somebody gets hurt or somebody gets sick or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's going to happen no matter what. And
do that shit in Dana White's basement.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the Russian guy. If he dies, he dies.
Yep.
If they die, they die. Andrew, we're gonna close this out with your prediction. From what you heard, who are you going with?
Well, being that you guys both went with the same guy, I'll just follow suit.
Okay, so you're a Tony guy now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Well, everybody that's listening, thanks a lot for joining us on the first COVID edition of the Triotonic Podcast. Giancarlo, thanks for coming on again.
Should we beatbox the theme song?
Yeah, go ahead. You can lead us to lead us out.
I'm good. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks, Giancarlo, for coming on. We'll see you guys again.
All right, everyone. Have a good night. Be safe.
Peace.